welcome to the Pikeville City Manager's Report. I'm Jill Fraley-Dotson, your host for today's show, along with Pikeville City Manager Philip Elswick. Good day, Philip.
Hello, Jill.
A great time to get together to talk about all of the wonderful things that are going on in the city, because we are now entering the fall season. And fall is typically a time when we have a lot of activities and a lot of events downtown. Typically, 2020 has been a little bit of a different year, as of course we all know.
It has.
But a lot of work has continued. A lot of projects are moving forward. And one of the big projects that a lot of people have questions about is how we're going to start today's show. And that is Fazoli's, the new Fazoli's restaurant that is underway. The site work is underway and nearing completion. So let's start out with an update on our new restaurant.
I guess we first announced that in February, and it's been kind of slow going for a little while, but now the site work has been done. And site work meaning elevations and grades and all of that stuff. And I understand utilities are being extended to the site now, and then we'll be paving it. And construction should start 30 to 60 days, something like that. So it's moving ahead.
It is moving ahead, and it seems like when we announced in February, we were, full steam ahead and everything, and we could have been open by now, or at least the restaurant could have been open, but then COVID came and things had to be pushed back. So there was talk about, a lot of people wondered if that was even going to take place, but it is, and we're happy to announce that.
It was slowed down like our fire station there.
Right.
That has not happened yet, but it will.
Yeah, and we're excited. I know Hillary and Jordan and Anita, they're just chomping at the bit to get groundbreaking started on the actual building.
Absolutely.
And I talked to her this morning, and she's just really excited. So we look forward to it.
She told me this week that she will have her Fazoli's coming soon sign in the next few days.
Yes,
that'll be exciting.
It will be. Fazoli's, of course, will be located at what we have dubbed the Yorktown Landing area. A future development there is in the works. You mentioned our new fire station that will be relocated from Island Creek to that space.
Right.
But it is at the base of the Kentucky Enterprise Industrial Park, where there is a lot of activity going on.
Absolutely.
As far as the new spec building, and I'm happy to say that we are ahead of schedule on that project as well.
Rarely are we ahead
Ever.
of schedule, but we are on this project, about 6 weeks, I believe. And the foundation's done, the still's going up, and we've been blessed with good weather. So it's well ahead of schedule, and I think it's ended in construction date is in April, but at this pace we should be done in mid-February.
That's exciting.
It is.
When you talk about it in April, and we've talked to a couple of different companies who have shown a great deal of interest in that building, and when we tell them that it is ahead of schedule, they're very much shocked as well. We couldn't be happier to go ahead and get that project completed.
We've always said having that building is critical to get in another business there, and that's proving to be true.
It absolutely is, and I think a lot of the new interest that is in the building is a result of the new access road, which will become the future main entrance of the industrial park that is just a little south of where the entrance is now. But that is a beautiful road, and we're looking forward to opening it up completely to the public.
It is. I think we now have all the emergency signs up and all the signage that needs to be there. So that road will be open to the public very shortly. And that has generated a lot of new interest in the industrial park. And we always intended to have 2 roads and 2 access points to the park, and we now have that. And the new road, because of the way it's designed, the way it's constructed, is so much easier to traverse for companies' trucks and deliveries and things of that nature. So it really is generating more interest in the park.
Yeah, like you mentioned, having that building there is crucial to the recruitment of new businesses, and I was interested to know that a couple of the companies that we have talked with were already wanting to build different buildings there and have different spaces. So it's not that they're just interested in that one space, but they're looking to expand at the park as well, which is something that we hope will certainly happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's acreage available, so we hope that'll happen.
There certainly is. One of the projects that we have talked about for seems like a couple of years now, but certainly in the last year, is the Bikeways project. We have a large group of bikers and cyclists in our community, and as we move forward, we know through some planning that we have done that biking is something that is really on the forefront of a lot of people's minds. They choose not to use their cars; they want to use bicycles. So we are making we're making a way for them to be able to use our streets.
Well, we're certainly making a way for it to be safer and to educate drivers of bicycles on the road. And it seems like we've talked about this for longer than 2 years, but it's finally coming to fruition. Construction should start here shortly. Our city engineer told me that we have received a notice to proceed from the Transportation Cabinet. So just shortly we'll be doing some construction on that project, and we have a huge bicycling community. I was in town late last night about 8:30 or so, and I passed more than a dozen bicycles on the boulevard, and there's certainly a growing culture in our town, and something that we need to meet that need. If we always want people to be out exercising, seeing town, that sort of thing. So this is a way that we can do that and promote that.
I think too, especially with a university, having new students from much further away than what we've had in the past, a lot of them choose to do bicycles instead of cars, or they may have left their cars at home and just want to use, they either want to walk or use their bicycles. So that's just one more way that we're adapting to our growing needs, not just with our community members who have been here, but also with the university.
Yeah, the university has grown a lot, as everyone knows, and it has changed our town in good ways. It's brought new people to town, young professional people that are very health conscious, I guess, to say that. And you see them out walking, running, bicycling, and it's just different than it was 5-10 years ago, which is a good thing.
Another project that we're working on, it seems like, I love to update everyone on projects because this is the one time that we can sit down and do that in a longer form manner than what we normally are used to. But the Pmc Pedestrian Tunnel is something that we've talked about just a little bit, but it's going to proceed pretty quickly. Yeah,
that's a project that will build a tunnel under the bypass between the Riverfill and the hospital's clinic and parking garage there on Harold's Branch. Anybody that's driven through that area realizes how dangerous it is for pedestrians to cross the road. Even though there's crosswalks and signals, it's still dangerous. And this will connect the two pieces of property for the hospital, make that one joint campus, and provide much safer access. So it's a great project. It's a good thing for the hospital and for our town. That contract has been awarded, and they are currently working with the State Transportation Cabinet on their encroachment permit. And just because of the nature of the project and it being a tunnel and pedestrian traffic, it'll be a lengthy encroachment permit process to make certain that everything's safe and construction can proceed. So construction will begin there soon, but it may be several months yet before that happens.
Also a needed project. One of the things that we've talked some about is the influx of electric vehicles that people are using. And as we welcome people, our guests, to our community, we want to make sure that folks that are using electric vehicles have a place to charge those vehicles. Right. In the past we haven't had those, but we're looking into ways to create some of those stations.
Yeah, we frequently receive calls for folks that are wanting to charge their vehicles at the RV park. Well, the RV park's been really busy for several months now, and that's not the ideal place to do that anyway. Those chargers are not designed for that. But the electric vehicle market is growing, and it's growing in Pikeville. You see them. I see them frequently in town. And the company that we've chosen to partner with is ChargePoint. And ChargePoint maintains this huge database of information about where chargers are located, the folks that are coming to use them, how people are traveling and designing their trips so that they're in a town, maybe to spend the night where there are those charging stations. So this is very much a tourism and economic development project for us. It's certainly designed to bring those people off the road and spend the night in Pikeville or just visit Pikeville. They may otherwise never have been here and miss the beauty of our town and all the unique things about it. So it's really just a way to attract people, to have them sleep in our hotels and eat in our restaurants, shop in our shops. And we are hopeful that will in fact do that. It's a 5-year agreement right now. We'll certainly see how that goes, and hopefully we'll have to extend that and maybe add more charging stations. But the other thing about that is those are free charging stations. There will be no cost for using those.
People always like the word free.
Absolutely.
We are right now embarking on a new tourism campaign because people across Kentucky and really across the country know that people are staying closer to home, they're taking day trips, they're taking trips that are within 3 hours of their normal residence, and not traveling very far. So that just checks another box on why people why people should come to Pikeville and why they can, and we have all the amenities that they need with those charging stations. We do want to send out a congratulations to Ricky Yance.
Absolutely.
Pikeville Police Department, he has been a member, I can't remember the number, but it's been a long
20
time,
years.
20 years, and but is a fixture of our community, and he is now retired.
Right. When we were going through his retirement ceremonies and all that, the thing that I kept hearing was that Ricky was always willing to help. No matter what you asked him to do, he was there, which is really what a police officer ought to do. He was known by everyone in our community and very well liked, and we hate to see him go, but he's not gone far. He's working at the federal courthouse now, doing as a deputy marshal. But Ricky had a good career with the Pikeville Police Department, and we want to wish him well.
Nice to still see him around town.
Absolutely.
But of course, with your retirements comes rehires.
Absolutely.
And we always are planning for those retirements, and certainly we did this time, and we've hired a new police officer.
We have. We hired Brandon Martin from the Floyd County Sheriff's Office. He's kind of been on our radar for a while as someone we'd like to have in our police force, and he'll be beginning here shortly, and he'll be a good addition. And we just got our 3 new officers fully trained at the academy. They've graduated, they're back training, and very soon they'll be on their own.
They will be, and they're doing a great job.
They are.
It's nice to see their faces around town and getting their footing, so to speak, within the community. Let's talk a little bit about Suddenlink. This has been a hot topic for some time, and measures are now being taken to make sure that appropriate service is provided and to work on some of the issues there.
Yeah, every utility that uses public right-of-way, the city's right-of-way, has to have a franchise agreement with the city. Cable TV is no exception to that. So they have an agreement with the city, and it has established a number of performance standards that they have to meet. Things like insurance coverage that indemnifies the city. They have to, of course, pay franchise fees. They have to submit a letter of credit, if for some event of some nature that we need to draw down on that. But there's also standards about quality of service and customer care. So a few weeks ago, the commission held a public hearing, accepted comments from the public, accepted comments from the city attorney regarding our interaction with Suddenlink and the problems that we're aware of. And the commission, in fact, found them in default of their franchise. Now, the remedy for default of a franchise is to assess liquidated damages. So every day that these defaults are not cured, the total of liquidated damages is just accruing. And eventually those fees will have to be paid to the city to settle the default process. The purpose of a default is not to assess liquidated damages or get paid. The purpose is to really hold their feet to the fire and make certain that they comply with the agreement. It's very important to us that our citizens and our businesses have excellent quality cable service that they're paying for. Unfortunately, that's not been our experience, and a number of our customers are very dissatisfied, and it's our responsibility as public officials and elected officials to enforce that agreement, and that's precisely what's happening here. We've had a number of conference calls and meetings with Suddenlink since this default was determined, and they seem more than willing to try to address the issues. So we're very hopeful that we can get through this process quickly, maintain or actually achieve the customer service and the quality that our citizens are paying for. This is not going to go away until those things happen. So it's not a pleasant process by any means, but it's necessary at certain times. And so we are working diligently to take care of those issues.
Remedy those problems. Let's switch gears a little bit to Trail Town and the Trail Town Initiative. We spoke during our last time together about the City of Pikeville wanting to achieve Trail Town certification, and there are so many different components that come into place to get that certification. We have a wonderful team that you assembled that is working diligently on making sure that happens, and we've had a couple of different events already that are pushing us toward that. We had our Trail Town kickoff that we spoke about last month. But just recently, we had the River Cleanup Day that was a tremendous success. Andy Linton and Jimmy and Minta and their team all got together and said that, this is going to be our project. So they recruited students from UPike and volunteers from the community and did a fantastic job on the River Cleanup Day.
Trailtown is certainly a priority for the commission. They believe, as do I, that it's kind of a game changer for our tourism business in Pikeville. You referenced Jimmy Taylor, Andy Linton, Robin Irwin, Kathy Atkins, Minta Trimble are working on that project. And we began that in early July, I believe, and now we're in mid-September, and they've made tremendous progress. This has been something that we've tried to achieve in the past, but believe it or not, COVID-19 has actually given us an opportunity to focus on it and to do that. So they are working diligently, and they've made great progress. We had our river cleanup on the 12th, I believe the 12th, and we had several volunteers from the university that were there to assist. We had several other volunteers just from our community. That cleanup, let me talk about that for a moment. That should not be a one-day thing. That should be something that we all do every day. This is our community, and it's our home, and we need to take pride in that. And I think that most people would pick up litter if they found it in their yard. Well, the river's kind of our yard. We're responsible for it, and we need to take care of it. So that's the first step in achieving our Trailtown certification, as the Levice Fork is actually serving as our trail. And our next event is September the 26th, which is the duck float, which begins at Texas Roadhouse, I believe. And that'll be a great event. We've had that for a number of years, and this year it's certainly very important this year because of the Trailtown certification.
It really is, and I can't say enough about the volunteers and the students that showed up. I think total there were 64 people that were on land. They were on the river in kayaks.
Right.
I think that last count there were 3 massive truckloads of trash and large. I'm not just talking about a paper cup. We were talking about tires and white goods and things of that nature that were picked up. And they really just did a tremendous job and take such pride in our community. Like you said, it is our yard, and we do need to pick it up and maintain that. Not just on a day or two throughout the year, but certainly a continued effort to make sure that as we welcome people, like I said before, with the tourism initiative being so big in the state of Kentucky right now, when we welcome our guests to Pikeville, we want to make sure that it is as pristine as it can be.
Absolutely. There's only 20 trail towns in Kentucky, communities or towns. And being the 21st trail town brings a lot of notoriety to Pikeville, and it brings a lot of people that are interested in trails, that want to do those sort of things, that maybe it's like the Bourbon Trail. They're checking off the trail towns they've been to. Well, we need to add Pikeville to that list, and we're working very diligently to do that. Excited
to get that completed and started. One of the other things that we're working on that goes along with Trailtown, goes along with our tourism initiative, is our arts economic incentive that we're doing. We are working really hard, again, with a wonderful group of people that you've assembled to create an artist community in Pikeville. And we all know what Berea has, and some other areas, Paducah, Owensboro, have big art communities. And there's nothing really east of Lexington that has that. And we want to make sure that Pikeville, again, with the Trailtown certification, but as an arts community, is on the map and is becoming a destination for people that enjoy the arts, be it plays, singing, musicals, pottery, murals, paintings, anything like that. So we're working really hard to make our downtown one of those destinations, and a big portion of that will be a makerspace.
Absolutely. Pikeville's the leader of Eastern Kentucky, and this is just one more initiative to continue that. The arts are very important to economic development. They have a tremendous impact, and I don't quite remember the numbers, but I know it's a tremendous impact. And part of what we want to do is have a makerspace where we have artisans that are living in that space or living elsewhere, but have a workshop plus a gallery. Maybe they teach art lessons to the community as well. It's just a way to get people engaged with the arts, to educate, to bring people to town. Again, it's something that people will travel for, and we are looking for every avenue that we have to ensure that people come to Pikeville and experience it.
I've seen a few different publications from across the state, newsletters that I subscribe to. And just recently, the state Main Street newsletter came out, and there were probably 3 or 4 pictures of Pikeville and some of our new art projects that are in that publication that are sent all over the state, and also to National Main Street, which is a really big deal.
Absolutely.
To do that and to shine light on the projects that we have. I think about the mural that Austin Casebolt did and our umbrella alley art that has become literally a destination for people all across the region. To see people come there, the different photographers that are doing pictures there, the kids that are walking by and just, being in awe of those umbrellas and how they're hanging there.
Right.
It is something that if you travel along 2nd Street or walk that area very much, you see how it's changed and how it's going to continue to change
Absolutely,
with
yeah.
our streetscape project that we'll talk about in the future. But it really is a destination. Downtown Pikeville is a beautiful place, and we certainly are ready to welcome everyone to our area. And one of the things that we do is our fiber to the premise project, which is extremely crucial to our businesses, to economic development, to our residents. I really can't say how important that it is.
Right. I think this pandemic has shown us the importance of the digital economy. And right now in Pikeville, actually our whole region, lots of the country, lots of areas of the country, internet broadband service does not exist to support that. So this project certainly began with the Kentucky Wired project the state has undertaken. And the goal is to provide gigabit service access to every home, business, residence, facility in the city limits. Of course, we're going to do that in phases, and we've partnered with Intermountain Cable to do that project for us. The prices for that will be benchmarked to national rates. So people in Pikeville won't be paying more than people in Los Angeles, for instance. It's important. That's important to us. And having that ability to access that quality of service, that level of service, can't be overstated, I don't believe. So we're working on that. We've been working for some time on the Make Ready cost, and Make Ready is working with the pole owners, which may be Kentucky Power, it could be AT&T, to have space on that pole to put the fiber. That's a lengthy process. It requires a lot of poles to be replaced or modified in some way. So Intermountain is working on that. I think we've gotten responses on 42% of the poles that we will have to be made ready. I think there's 1,100 poles throughout the project that need that analysis. So that is ongoing now. We've begun the engineering design. I can't tell you when construction will start, but it is certainly on the horizon, we believe. And phase 1 is really a large part of the city, and then it'll be followed by phases 2 and 3.
Exciting. I'll tell you what else that is really exciting right now. We've mentioned tourism several times. One of the things, like you said, that the pandemic has done has allowed us to think outside the box a little bit, specifically from a tourism standpoint, and to have new offerings. We've had so many things that have been canceled because we're not allowed to have large group gatherings.
Right.
But one of the things that came out of some planning and thinking outside of the box was a drive-up movie at Bob Amos Park. Those have been enormously successful. And I give a lot of credit to Jimmy Taylor and Andy Linton and Tony and all the people that work within the events to make sure that those are fantastic events. Our first was held just a couple of months ago. We are getting ready to have our third movie in the park that's coming up on September 19th.
Yeah, we certainly hope that's going to be larger than the last one, which was had more attendance than the first one. So those have been a great event for the city. It's brought a lot of people to Bob Amos Park and given them something to do. I mean, this is a difficult time as far as recreation and entertainment. So, you know, we're kind of assessing that and see how it goes. It's hopefully something that will continue in the future. I think our next one's the 19th, and the movie's Aladdin. And then we have a double feature on October the 31st. So,
Yeah, October 31st, it was just kind of worked out that Halloween was on a Saturday, and that's normally when we do the movies. So I do know that on Halloween, we're having one for the kids and one maybe more for an adult audience. So Hocus Pocus will be the first feature that we have, and then they're still working on the second movie, but I can assure you that it's going to be some type of one of those older Halloween horror flicks that, has maybe Jason or, the Psycho movies or Halloween maybe.
Right.
So they're working on pinning down what that movie is going to be. So something for maybe our older audience to look to that, want to take the kids home or just maybe want to have a date night and come to do that. So we're looking forward to both of those movies. Appalachian Wireless Arena, again, we talk about the cancellations that we've had, but luckily we are going to have a few events coming up there and the app that are going to be exciting that we want to mention.
Absolutely. Robin Irwin and her staff at the app have put together a couple concerts that are going to take place in early October. Both have a bluegrass spin, I suppose, to them. One is on October the 3rd. It's the Kevin Prater band. Excuse me. It's his 40th year anniversary of playing bluegrass, and he has a large following. He's played in a number of different countries. I think almost every state, maybe 49 of the 50 states, and so we're glad to have him at the arena. Actually, it's an app event, but it's going to happen at the arena just for social distancing. And then about a week later, I think we have the Cleverleys, which is another band that does bluegrass spins on a lot of different types of songs. So we're excited about that.
Cleverleys also have a huge following. They're very, very entertaining, so that should be a lot of fun. And then again, as we get closer to Halloween, Rocky Horror Picture Show with Shadowcast is going to be October 17th. And if you know anything about Rocky Horror Picture Show, it has kind of a cult following. I mean, people have been drawn to that picture for years. So that's going to be a fun event that's also going to be held at the arena. And then Rodney Carrington coming up November 7th.
Right.
So fun there. One of the things that I get asked about right now, just about weekly, if not daily, is Nightmare on Main. And one of the biggest events, if not the biggest event we have for kids in the city, is always Nightmare on Main at the arena. We have found a way to make it safer this year and make sure that we comply with guidance from the governor's office and the health department. So talk a little bit about how Nightmare on Main is going to work this year.
It's going to be much different than in the past. It'll be on Main Street actually this year. It's on October the 29th, and it's going to be a drive-through Nightmare on Main, akin to the trunk-or-treat events that happen at some churches and things. But a number of different vendors, organizations will have their trunk open and decorated in various themes, and we'll have candy that will be passed out as you drive through the trick-or-treating, I guess. But traffic will enter town on Hambley Boulevard, go down Huffman Avenue, and then Main Street. And we're expecting a lot of people like we usually have for Nightmare on Main, but we'll be prepared for that and planning accordingly.
The one thing we want to make sure is there's been a lot of things that the kids have had, I don't want to say taken away, but have missed this summer. And we want to make sure that if we can have any kind of event that makes them happy and brings smiles to those faces, and we know Nightmare on Main is always one of them, that we want to do our part to make sure it happens. I think it'll be fun.
Absolutely.
I think it'll be different. It's we beg of your patience because we know there's going to be a lot of traffic, but that's what we're used to. So so we'll have a great event and have more updates as we get closer to that time. Speaking of time, we are out of time for today. We've had a lot of information, a lot of great projects that we've been able to talk about, and just so we can assure everyone, projects and exciting things are continuing to come to the city of Pikeville. We're going to have a lot of new businesses that are going to open up in the next few weeks. So when we get together in October, we'll be able to announce some of those and show you what they have to offer, and that'll be a fun time.
Absolutely.
Philip, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
This has been the Pikeville City Manager's Report. Thank you so much for joining us.